So, good morning, my dear friends. So, we are going to the second half of the lesson number 2, Nationalism in India. So, towards civil disobedience movement. So, see in this page, first line, February 1922. Mahatma Gandhi, please underline that date, okay? Mahatma Gandhi had decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement. So, and then what he did was, he felt there was lots of violence, and he decided to take sannyas and went back to Sabarmati ashram. But Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das, they formed the Swaraj party. See here it is being given in the first paragraph itself, C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru, it will come as an objective, okay? C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru formed the Swaraj party within the Congress, thinking that they will take part in the elections and control the government in their own small way from inside. Now 1920s, 1929, there was a Great Depression. Agricultural prices started falling, and but the revenue remained, the taxation remained the same. Though there was no selling of agricultural products, the taxation had remained the same. So in order to pacify the Indians, a statutory commission was formed under the leadership of Sir John Simon. See in the third paragraph, Sir John Simon was formed, but the Indians boycotted this fully. Why? Because there was not a single Indian member. They argued that you are from England, you don't know anything about India, how can you create relief for us during the Great Depression? And that's the reason when it landed in Bombay in India on 1928, please underline the date, it was received with hartals and black flags with Simon go back. Now October 1929, Lord Irwin, in order to pacify the Congress, again offered a vague proposal of dominion status. Now what exactly is dominion status? Meaning you'll have a government of India consisting of Indians at the center, but the constitution, security, foreign affairs are all under the British. So that is not complete independence, isn't it? By now the extremists had entered into the Congress. The young blood, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose and all, they were not even ready to hear to the British. They said, we want complete independence. See, please underline this. In December 1929, in the Lahore session of the Congress, Jawaharlal Nehru proclaimed that we want Purna Swaraj or complete independence, and they decided to celebrate 26 January 1930 as the Independence Day. So 26 January, you know why it is important. It is our Republic Day. That's the reason we have selected that date as the Republic Day. Now, please remember one thing. Here I would like to remind you, wherever they have given full date, see they have given December 1929. You study that much only. Now in the next paragraph, 31st January 1930. So for objectives, when you have to study about the date, study the full date. Where they have given only the year or only the date, then you study. Whatever has been given in the textbook, only that much you study. But don't study ki 1930 Gandhiji wrote which date of 1930. There will be a confusion, and in objectives and MCQs there will be a lot of confusion. So when you are studying the dates, study fully, okay? On 31st January 1930, Gandhiji wrote a letter to Lord Irwin stating 11 demands. Now what had happened was the economy of Britain had come down totally. It was totally washed out. They needed to rebuild their economy, and what better way than to push the burden on their colonies. So what they started doing was, they started taxing each and every item, including salt. Salt is one of the most basic items, isn't it? Now when they started taxing the salt, plus income tax also had been introduced, it started creating a burden on the middle class budget. Now Gandhiji wrote a letter to Lord Irwin stating 11 demands, and the most important, the first demand was withdrawing the tax on salt. Now withdrawing the tax on salt, so he threatened that if by chance the tax on salt is not withdrawn, then he will launch the civil disobedience campaign on a mass scale. Now, Lord Irwin did not take him seriously, so Gandhiji started the most famous Dandi March. So, how many followers he had? 70 volunteers. They walked for 240 miles and for 24 days, 10 miles a day. And on 6th April, he reached Dandi. Now, this Dandi March, why is it important? See, Dandi March is important because previously, prior to this, he had discouraged the women to take part in the nationalist struggle. He felt that women should look after their households, take care of the children and all that. But when the Dandi March started, he could not stop the women. So wherever he would rest, after walking 10 miles, when he would rest near the villages, women from nearby villages, they used to carry their children and they used to come to listen to Gandhiji. And over a period of time, you will see that women also started taking active part in the nationalist struggle. That's one most important thing about Dandi March. Now, this marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. Now, what is the difference between non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement? Non-cooperation, meaning we are not cooperating with the British, as the word says, meaning we are not going to work in the offices and all that. But civil disobedience movement, they still boycotted the foreign goods, they still boycotted everything. But here, one thing extra they did was they stopped paying taxes. You got it? They stopped paying taxes. Now, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, he was known as the Frontier Gandhi. He too was one of the most important staunch supporters of Gandhi. Now, on 5th March 1931, please remember this date, on 5th March 1931, Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed. As per this pact, all the political prisoners were released and the British government proposed a second roundtable conference. Why second roundtable conference? The first roundtable conference had been boycotted by the Congress. So now the second roundtable conference. Now they had kept the conference in December 1931. Look at the date. It's very important. December 1931. England enjoys a winter, just like Kashmir. It enjoys a winter climate. And Gandhiji and other national leaders, they were not, though yes, they had studied there and all that, but Gandhiji fell ill during the second roundtable conference. Second thing is the British government had already decided that they are not going to agree to any of the demands of the Congress. Now, what were the demands of the Congress during the civil disobedience movement? During the civil disobedience movement, the Congress took up the cause of the zamindars and the industry owners or factory owners, meaning Indian factory owners. See, the zamindars had to pay a huge amount of rent, which they passed it on to the peasant. Now, the peasant was the oppressed lot. So, what the Congress thought was, if we reduce the rent of the tax of the zamindar, he will not demand that much amount of tax from the peasant. And same thing about the industrial. See, now Indians had started, like Jamshedji Tata and all, they were the pioneers. They had set up industries in India, and every step of the way they had to suffer roadblocks. Getting machinery from England, usually the machinery would be broken down. They had to send it back. Taxation, export duties were high. Lots of problems were created by the British. Now the Congress decided that we are going to demand that reduced taxation for the industry owners and all that, and make it easy for them to set up industries. Now, as I told you, the British had already decided not to cater to any of the demands of the Congress, and naturally the second roundtable conference was a failure. Now, what happened was the industrialists had already set up Federation of, see here it is, please underline this, Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce, FICCI. It will come as an objective, maybe they'll ask you as an abbreviation. And now the thing is, when the British did not agree to any of the Congress demands, the Congress came back disappointed, and the most disappointed were the industry owners and the zamindars. Now, 1934, Gandhiji restarted the civil disobedience movement, but the response was lukewarm. Why? The peasants and the industry workers, they did not support the Congress. Nahi bhai, you do not take up our demands. Okay. Now the zamindars and the industry owners felt that the Congress was not able to pacify or convince the British government to reduce the taxes. So naturally, when it was relaunched, the civil disobedience movement was relaunched, it saw a lukewarm response. Not many people took part in the relaunch of the civil disobedience movement. Jammu and Kashmir also has seen lots of support to the civil disobedience movement. See, down with the Union Jack, people took active part in the freedom struggle. The Dogra Sardar Sabha was forced to be shut down, and Ranbir, the only paper which was active in this region, was also forced to be, repression was used, atrocities were being used on the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Now you will see here that social and religious reform. Now, social and religious reform we have studied in the 8th standard, isn't it? We have studied about Brahmo Samaj and all that. But one of the most important political leaders who worked towards social movement was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Now, the Muslim League was demanding a separate electorate for the Muslims. By that time they had not decided a separate state of Pakistan. The Muslim League wanted a separate electorate only for the Muslims and representation in the Indian Parliament. And the British gladly supported them. After 1857 revolt, they went about in a planned way dividing the Hindus and the Muslims. Divide et impera, meaning divide and rule. Now, the Congress convinced the Muslim League not to go ahead with the demand. They convinced that equal rights would be given to the Muslims. Their rights would be, being the minority, their rights would be equally protected. So the Muslim League went back on its demand. But Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who had taken up the temple entry movement, that among the Hindus, I'm sorry to say that the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe were never allowed within the temples and all that, untouchables and all that. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar wanted representation for the so-called scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. Now the Gandhiji tried to convince Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, but Dr. B.R. said he is not going to, he wanted equal rights for the so-called scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe. He said we want equal representation and that they should be elected in the parliament by a separate electorate, meaning only the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe are going to vote for their representatives in the parliaments and in the state government legislatures. Now Gandhiji knew that it will divide the country. So they convinced, please underline this, in the second paragraph, we have the Pune Pact of September 1932. Pune Pact, please underline this will come as an objective, and this paragraph also please mark it as important. It comes as a regularly repeated question. Now, as per the Pune Pact, it was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was made to agree that there will be 2 seats reserved for the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe in the central parliament, but they have to go through the general election, not a separate electorate. So, see the last line. They were to be voted by a general electorate. Please don't forget that line, okay? That line is most important. Sometimes students, you forget that last line. Please don't forget this last line. See, by 1930, Allama Iqbal had he had given a vague idea of a separate state of Pakistan. When there was when the separate electorate was, the Muslim League was convinced by the Congress that they are not to go in for a separate electorate, Allama Iqbal gave that there should be a new Muslim nation for the a separate state of Pakistan. Now, in the